Alright, what's going on YouTube? So today we have a video that I usually do yearly. This is how I make my thumbnails. This is for 2020 obviously. If you want to know, this application I'm using, it's free. It's called Photoscape X, which I'm on Mac as you can probably tell. So when you open this up, first thing I like to do is get a background, just going straight into it. So for this I'm doing a thumbnail on my upcoming video for Fortnite. So I'm looking up the Fortnite Season 2 Chapter 2 umbrella right here. And what I do here is that I usually just go to Google Images to find the backdrop since it's the easiest to do, and I just work off that. It's kind of like the backbone of everything. It's not like copying and pasting a thumbnail, since you'll see thumbnails in here. I'm just looking for someone's like picture of the backdrop since it's the easiest way to do it for me personally. And after a while I just give up, so I just type it in. I think it's called the classified, which I misspelled, don't mind that. But basically this is what I'm looking for, just like the menu saying, hey, you achieved it. So what I did here is that I went back into my old videos to go see what the original thumbnail looked like, because I wanted it to look like that. So I'm looking for a thumbnail that looks like that, and obviously they updated the UI, so it's not going to look like that per se, but basically I just went here. Then what you're doing here is that I'm looking to see the resolution on them. So the past two are 1280 by 720. So by the third one, this one, I just give up since they're all 1220 by 780 or 1280 by 720, what did I have to say? Anyway, I just give up since none of them are what I like, and this one's fine, and you know, it's not just blatantly saying like someone's name. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna borrow this wink emoji. So go back to Photoscape right here, open it up, just open it up wherever you have it. I have mine in my downloads obviously, which I tried to move it since I like keeping things organized, but you can't do that in Photoscape, fun fact. So first thing I tried to do here was to resize it to 1920 by 1080 since that's what I like, but I'm pretty sure it didn't work. But otherwise I go straight into the color. And don't mind the music in the top right, since I do listen to music when making thumbnails. Right now I'm listening to Highlights by Kanye West. So what I do is that I mess with the color settings. Basically the vibrancy is just what you see. The higher it is, usually the more appealing it looks to people. So I go with that. Brighten, you don't want it too bright where you can't see it, but you want it bright enough where it pops. Then I deepen it to just like mix it out a little bit. Then clarity is just clarity. Basically just like, it's hard to explain. Over here, darken highlights. What I did here is that I put it up so high because the gold on the umbrella, the little highlights in there, is really bright, so I wanted to darken them. And then saturation is just like the color saturation, so it'll basically get brighter. And you'll see I keep going back and forth, so whenever I click on the image, it'll show me the original image. Then what I do here is that the temperature, I go for more of a cooler temperature since it's all blue, and blue is more of a cooler color, so I try to code it more to cooler. And again, I'm not some expert on thumbnails and colors obviously because I'm using a free software. So yeah, don't be like taking my word for anything. I'm just doing what I like and what appeals to me. So that's it for the colors. Looks good. Next up, I do the red arrow. Can never forget that. So I don't know why it took me so long to find it, but it's in my add-ons folder and it's just a red arrow. Give it a second, I'll find it. And yes, if you're wondering, I am recording this after since I do not have a mic for my Mac in my other room, which I am not going to go get a mic for. So now that I have my arrow, you see this in a lot of my thumbnails. Basically I just resize it to make it look good, and I'll mess around with this arrow a lot. It just really depends, since I don't want it too in your face and I don't want it out, since obviously it's an arrow. It's obviously supposed to clickbait. No, that's not really clickbait, it's just like something to appeal. Like you see that big red arrow, it catches your eyes. It's just marketing. So after I do that, I go here, I see the text on it, and I was like, okay, what is that text? Then I go into my text, which usually I use the impact text, which most times works fine, but I was realizing I don't like this. So after I looked at that, I was like, okay, well, I'm not really vibing out too hard with this, so I'll see what it looks like. Then after a while, I just eventually go to Fortnite font generator, since obviously it's Fortnite and I wanted to match, and like the original one, it's Fortnite font, which I'm actually surprised I redid this since I actually had that font in my add-ons. But yeah, I just went back, Fortnite text generator, obviously it's the one that I've used, just free generator, just find one, go here, typed in umbrella journey. Pretty simple. Make sure you don't misspell it, which I always have that fear of doing it. Then to select the color I want in white, Obviously I didn't get it here, so I just put in the hexadecimal for white, which is just 6 Fs. And fun fact, if you want black in hexadecimal, it's just 6 zeros. Now that you have it, you can't see anything, but it's there, so you save it to your downloads. Go back to Photoscape, and now what you do is that you act stupid like me, forget that you have the original text there, so you cancel this out to get rid of that text. Then you do that again. So now you actually have it. Then you just move this where you want, and it's just really a personal preference here. I messed with it a while. I was leaning in, making it look all how I wanted. So yeah, it's just really like a, where do you want the text to be, since I like using all the real estate. Then after a while I was like, okay, I'm gonna put chapter 2 season 2 because it's a nice addition and it lets you know, it's just more information and it's not gonna take up too much real estate on the actual image. So did that, went back here, same method here, look for whichever one is it, it's that one, put it in, mess with it, make it, obviously if you want it to look cleanest, I would just line it up with the other one, which I did here. Then after a while of just tweaking with it, I get it how I like, but basically this is the process where I just move it all around. Then again with the arrow, I'm just moving it around, trying to get with it. And don't mind that it's a little laggy with the arrow, that's just my CPU getting eaten up since I am on a 5-year-old MacBook, but it's a pretty decked out MacBook, not to flex or anything, I'm just saying. But that's why it's there. So now that I've gotten where I like, this is basically how I like it. It's basically, this is the end product here. I don't like in the top right corner or the top left corner, there's a lot of free space there. I really am keen on taking up as much real estate as you can, which sounds weird, but I don't like all these giant spaces since it just feels like wasted space. So yeah, then all I do here is I save it to my thumbnail folder, which is always cool. Go to my thumbnail folder, block out all of that, you don't need to see it. Then go to my thumbnails, then scroll down, find it. I don't name all of these, it's just, you can look at the thumbnail and you'll see. And fun fact, I just said that, know that I pulled up the old one. That's the old one if you wanted to see. Then it took me a second here. Hey, shout out to Chance the Rapper, that's a great song. But anyway, this is it. This is the final product. It's really that simple. It doesn't take me an hour to do thumbnails. It takes me like 10 minutes sometimes 20. If I'm really picky, it might take me an hour, but those are for like the really big projects I do. But most of them it's just like this. But anyway, that's been it for the video. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure you leave a like and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.